Cedar. Hi, my little shrimp. It's Mommy. It's April 2022, April 25th. I just wanted to, I have a list of a few videos I'd like to make for you. I love you, Cedar. You're my little shrimp always. And I'm sorry, I'm putting you through all of my health mess. You don't deserve this. I'm working from home, so I apologize if we get interrupted. And I am doing the best that I can, and I just took a shower on my lunch break, so I'm sorry for, this is me right now. This video, I wanted to talk to you about mine and your dad's love story. I thought you would like to know. Okay, let's start off. How did I meet your dad? So I was in kind of an abusive relationship for a couple years. You know, me and my mom never got along. So anyways, that's a story for another day. Anyways, my mom had a boyfriend at the time, and at the time he let me move home finally to get out of that bad relationship, because you know, my mom wouldn't, but he convinced her finally that I could move back home. So I lived at home for about a year at my mom's, and I was working as a teller supervisor at a bank in Derby. It was Naugatuck Valley at the time. I really liked that job. I made some friends with the girls there, and you met a lot of people, you know, a lot of business owners and stuff. We had some laughs there, and I learned a lot. That's where my banking career started. I started working there at 19. So I moved home to my mom's, I think I was about 21, for about a year. During that time, I was just kind of lost. You know, me and my mom didn't get along, and I was just hanging out with old friends. I didn't know what to do when I got out of that relationship, so you know, I went back to just hanging out with some old Trumbull Center friends. We used to hang out at Trumbull Center at Dunkin' Donuts with our cars when we were in high school, and that's what we used to do. So I was kind of lost, so I went out hanging out here and there with a couple of those friends. I ended up, I guess wasn't really dating, but hanging out, or went on a couple dates with one of them, this kid that I knew, but it seemed like, you know, where I needed to be in life was a lot more than where other people my age needed to be. I was working full time. I needed a place to live. I needed to get an apartment. I wanted a serious relationship, where other people at 21 years old, they were kind of still living at home and partying and stuff, and you know, that wasn't me. So it didn't really work with the people that I friends that I knew or you know, hung out with. So this one kid I hung out with a little bit at that time. One night he said to me, "Oh, I have to go get paid from my boss. I have to go to my boss's house to get paid. Do you want to come for a ride?" I remember it was raining, and we went for a ride, and we pulled up to this big house in Trumbull. It was this huge house, and he said his boss had to pay him, and one second. And so I'll try to make this pretty quick. I'm sorry. So he said, you know, his boss had to pay him, so that's where I met John. It was actually your dad's house. It was your dad, where he lived with his dad in Trumbull. And your dad, I remember we pulled up in the driveway, and we were in the car, and I saw your dad, and there was a big like dump truck in the driveway, a big green dump truck, and your dad was crouched down underneath it, working under the truck. And I was like, who is that? And he had like his sleeves rolled up so you could see part of his tattoo on his arm. And his jeans were kind of ripped and dirty with stains from working on the truck, and he had a sweatshirt on. And he was tall, and I thought he was good looking. And I was like, who is that? And he was like, oh, that's my boss. And your dad came over and paid the kid that I was dating or hanging out with at the time. And that's where I met him. So then a couple times from there, I went with that kid to his house to get paid or to just hang out. And I never, we would just stand in the driveway, and I remember he had I think a quad there, and I remember sitting on the quad, and I remember talking to your dad and asking him, questions about his business or about his daughter. I remember he said he didn't see his daughter in a few years, and that was your sister Sophia. And I never went into the big house. I remember going into his smaller apartment that he lived in. That big house, he had his own little apartment. And anyways, long story short, I really liked him just from the beginning. I don't know why. It was just something about him I really liked. It seemed, as far as I knew, he ran his own business, and he was hardworking, and he knew how to work on cars and trucks, and I thought he was good looking, and that was, attractive to me. And at the time, we had, a decent conversation. And the couple times we hung out briefly. And so me and that kid that I hung out with, we only hung out a few times, and that was that. So I was still at my mom's, and I stopped, talking to that kid. And I remember thinking to myself, how do I find him? How do I find your dad? How do I find John? And I looked on Facebook, and I couldn't find him, and I couldn't find him. I remember looking up his business, and I found a phone number online, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Call and say I need a tree cut down? I remember thinking that, and it was so silly, and I've never done, anything like that before. So I let it go. And then things with me and my mom got worse when her and her boyfriend broke up. So she said, I needed to move out. So I used my savings, and I moved out. I was also working part-time at Victoria's Secret too, to save up some money at nights. I was working a lot, but then I stopped doing that because I was not sleeping enough. So I was exhausted between the two jobs. So I ended up using my savings to go get a little apartment of my own. It was the cheapest one I could find. It was like $700 a month. 2-family house, a nice little clean apartment. It was like decent, like new carpet and whatnot, and he had new appliances. So but I was using my savings because I couldn't afford that in my car and the utilities and everything that I needed to do. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I couldn't live off the savings. It was going to drain out eventually. So out of nowhere, I remember one day I didn't really know what I was gonna do, and out of nowhere I remember I saw your dad's name pop up on Facebook. Like, do you know this person? Like, he finally made a Facebook. He never had one. So right away I added him, and I sent him a message on Facebook, and it took him a while to respond. And then back and forth, I got his phone number. It was like really hard to get him to talk to me, kind of, I remember. And I remember he said his dad was moving, and it was just staying with a friend in Trumbull at the time. So then I remember finally I was really messaging him. I really liked your dad, and finally he decided to make plans for a date one night, and he said he was going to come pick me up after he got out of work. And I don't remember all the details, but I just remember that it was late, and I was waiting for him. I don't remember